Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
For this is what the Sovereign Lord says.
Why do you need prophets to tell people who you are and what you want?
If you can justify everything that the God of the Bible has done, then you can justify any of your behavior.
A lot of this mentality is trickling into what is now mainstream right-wing Christianity.
I am capable of empathy greater than this God of the Bible.
This is a Bible that they tell kids. This is the good Lord. This is the good book. He is fantasizing about murder, mass murder.
Head over to sacrilegiousdiscourse.com right now to find out how to leave us a review or support us on Patreon.
Hey there, sinners and saints. It's your favorite Bible-bashing duo from Sacrilegious Discourse, and we need your help.
That's right, folks. We're raising funds for some heavenly equipment and a studio that doesn't sound like it's in the depths of hell.
Our current setup, let's just say it's more apocalypse than audiophile.
So if you want to hear us dissect the Bible without the background noise of demonic squirrels, chip in a few bucks.
We're aiming for $5,000 to upgrade our audio and build a studio worthy of blasphemous banter.
Donate today and help us spread the good word of atheism.
You can find a link right on our homepage, sacrilegiousdiscourse.com. Every dollar counts.
Even if it's from your collection plate. Husband!
Wife!
I'm so excited. Do you know what we're doing today?
We are finishing the fuck out of Zechariah.
I know. Do you know what this episode is?
It's our Contradictions episode.
False. It's you're always wrong. Because you're always wrong. You're always wrong.
All right.
Can you or can you not pick the right answer?
I can
not. So you're always wrong.
I guess. All right.
Zechariah.
All right. You ready to do this?
I sure as fuck am.
All right. Let's do it.
Okie dokie. All right, we are here with Zachy. It's the last time I get to do that.
You gotta ham it up a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Zachy, you can come out now. You're always wrong.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
There were 5 questions, but 2 were from the New Testament, which we haven't read yet. So, the argument
we didn't.
So there's only 3.
Okay. Because and in case you don't know, we try to cover these with things that we've covered and before.
Yes.
So we're only covering things that we've covered up to this point.
Yes.
And we'll cover the other ones when we get there eventually.
Yeah. So Book of Matthew, right out. That's NT.
Right.
We're not there yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So question number 1. Was Zechariah Iddo's son or grandson?
Ooh. I'm going to go with grandson.
Okay. That tracks because in Zechariah chapter 1 verse 1 it says, "Came the word of the Lord unto Zechariah the son of Berechiah the son of Iddo."
Okay.
So, yeah, definitely Zechariah was Iddo's grandson.
Yeah, unless the same person unless 2 men can have a son.
But.
Right, yeah.
Ready?
I'm ready.
You're always wrong. Because Zechariah was actually Iddo's son, according to the book of Ezra.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. In chapter 5, verse 1, it says, "Then the prophets, Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo, prophesied unto the Jews."
Interesting.
And then in chapter 6, verse 14, "Through the prophesying of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo."
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not that interesting. We covered this when we did the intro to Zeki.
Okay.
In that son, grandson, was less. It's one that's not a super important discrepancy because we're talking about a family name.
I agree to an extent. Now, the reason I say to an extent is because fathers were really important back then. Mm-hmm. And so to leave the father out and skip right to the grandfather seems like a very large oversight to me.
Yes and no. Again, it has to do with who was the active priest in the family, who was I don't know. I just find it meh. It doesn't bother me.
Well, I only bring up that point because this is to some people the
God's
word of God.
Word. Yeah, yeah.
And,
God wasn't very sure what he was talking about.
It's not his son, it's his grandson.
Right.
At least according to Zechariah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the better account would be Zechariah.
Sure.
And not Ezra.
Sure.
But that's just me.
I don't disagree. I just don't think it matters a lot.
Except for that I want to be right.
But you aren't.
But I'm kind of right.
But you're also kind of wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm less wrong on this one. I'm just saying.
I don't know.
Zechariah said.
Well, anyways.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Uh-huh.
Does God ever get furious?
Oh, fuck yeah, he does.
Yeah, totally. God is always furious. He's often furious. And one might say he's always furious.
Well, when he's nice, he usually follows it up with furious.
Sure.
So, like, you can find nice, but it's, usually you give it like another, half a chapter and he's going to turn back to furious.
If that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, like in Isaiah chapter 34, it says, "For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations and his fury upon all their armies." He's so fucking mad. There's a couple in Jeremiah where he's like, "I'm so fucking mad, and behold, the whirlwind of the Lord goeth forth with fury." I mean, this dude is pissed.
Yeah.
And then in Nahum, and I will execute vengeance and anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard. He was so mad.
Damn heathens.
And then in Zechariah, the important one, damn heathens.
Yeah.
In Zechariah chapter 8, it says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great fury." Yeah, he was pissed. But guess what?
I'm wrong.
You're always wrong.
I'm gonna caveat this one with that,
But we read the book, and so
I'm gonna say that if there's a theme in this book, it's that God's a dick.
Sure.
And he's an asshole, and he's not nice.
And he's always angry.
And he's
never
always angry.
Not be afraid.
Right.
Always fear the Lord.
So I'm just gonna say that before we get into your contradiction here.
I agree, but it does say in Isaiah chapter 27, fury is not in me.
Oh, well, okay.
And
as long as he says so.
God says, "Nuh-uh, I'm never mad."
Right.
Except for when I'm mad, but I'm never.
Yeah.
I would never.
Right.
I would never.
No, it's totally, like, you can be both things, right?
I'm God. I can be whatever the fuck I want, right? But mostly I'm a dick. That is what I choose.
Yeah.
I'm a God, and I choose on purpose to be a dick.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, you do you, boo.
Right.
All right, number 3. How should strangers be treated? And here's your choices.
Okay.
Kill them, or love and be kind to them. Those are your choices. Which one?
I mean...
Which one would you do versus which one do you think God does?
I do remember God saying to, like, it was earlier on in like the much earlier chapters of the Bible that we've read, but there was parts about accepting your neighbors and being nice to your neighbors.
Sure.
But that has changed sometimes, sort of, depending on the day, if he wants his neighbors to kill his people or not kill his people.
Right. It just depends.
I'll go with, because I would choose to be nice, I'm going to say that he'd be nice.
Love and be kind to them.
I don't agree with that, but,
you don't
as far as for God,
So, in Exodus, it says, "Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him."
Right.
And then there's a bunch of places in Leviticus where it says, "Though he be a stranger, he may live with thee. And the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as one born among you. And thou shalt love him as thyself."
And, we commented at the time that these were beautiful sentiments.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we were like, this is Christians should really read this because... With all the immigration stuff going on right now, these are really important words. I feel they should take to heart.
Yeah.
But
we're not there yet. We're still talking
still talking about how nice he is.
Love, and kind. Yeah.
Not a dick right now.
Not yet.
Okay.
In Deuteronomy, it said, "Love ye therefore the stranger, and thou shalt not pervert the judgment of the stranger." Always be nice to the stranger. Yeah. And then in Jeremiah, it says, "Oppress not the stranger, do no violence to the stranger." And then importantly, in Zechariah, it says, "Oppress not the stranger."
Okay. All right. Okay? That's a lot of not oppressing strangers.
Don't oppress fucking strangers, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, but guess what?
What?
You're always wrong. Of course you should kill them. Of course you should. Like, Also in Deuteronomy, early on.
Yeah.
Where we were just talking about how
nice
early on it was nice. Yeah. In Deuteronomy chapter 7, it says, "And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite the fuck out of them and utterly fucking destroy them. Thou shalt make no fucking covenant with them, nor show any fucking mercy unto them." Don't do it. Fucking kill them.
I do feel like people are going to caveat this with the fact that it's, they're enemies that they're treating this way. Right.
Strangers.
But I mean, you can't have it both ways, right? You either treat people like you should have a set, hard and fast set rule, right? Mm-hmm. You either treat people nicely or you don't, right?
Well, then that opens the door to ask the question, who do we consider a people versus who are subhuman and cockroaches and, and nastiness and vermin. Like that's how the Nazis, they subhumanized people, Jews,
I want to say
and
this.
Handicapped and the people in the queer community.
Yeah.
And they subhumanize them, and therefore they're not human. Therefore, they don't count as strangers. Therefore, we can kill them.
I want to say this too, because I think a lot of people, and you're right. We definitely that's what's used, right? We make them not something that people care about, right? But as somebody who is saying that you should choose when to get there, when I'm saying, because I would choose nice, right? Always be nice and equitable to your neighbors and strangers and all that.
Yeah.
But when I say that, it's not that I don't think you should have the ability to defend yourself.
Right.
Right? I mean, you be nice up until the point where your livelihood is at stake.
Or your family.
Or something is threatened, by that person. That becomes a whole different situation.
Right.
It doesn't mean you're not being nice to them. It means you're defending yourself against somebody who's being an asshole.
Regretfully.
Right. Regretfully. You should never enjoy that.
Right.
You should never enjoy defending yourself. Like that's not a place any of us want to be.
Right.
But
it also gets into why the individual who was harmed, the victim, should not be in charge of the punishment of the person who perpetrated the crime.
Sure.
Because then that's personal vengeance and not justice and not defense.
Right. But what I'm getting at is that people will say you can't always be nice. You can. You just have to, take things slowly. As when something's going wrong, you have to react. It's a reaction. It's not treating somebody differently. You're reacting to them throwing stones at your kid. Yeah. You're not reacting to them,
being brown.
Right. Yeah.
Or just moved here, not from here. Don't like that. Gonna get ya.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And, you can still think decent things of that person and maybe, hey, maybe they're having a rough day. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, even in wartime, there's the stories of them stopping for, like in World War II, them stopping for Christmas.
When they sing carols together.
Right.
That was so beautiful.
And that's one of those beautiful stories you hear from history, right?
Yeah.
And look, that's surrounded by lots and lots of death and horrible shit.
Yes.
Right?
But that's what makes it so beautiful, though.
Right.
Is that these people surrounded by death and hatred, for 1 second, they realized we are just the bottom line and we are just humans.
Right.
And we're all actually kind of the same. And when you're surrounded by that much death, sometimes you don't even know what you're fighting for at that point.
It's true.
You're just, quote unquote, following orders because that's what you're supposed to do.
Right. Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that out there because there's nothing black and white about these viewpoints. That there is always gray area.
Sure.
And that's where a lot of Christians don't live. A lot of Christians live in this very black and white, moral and immoral world where things cannot be one. They cannot live in the middle. They have to be one way or the other. I want to speak to
that actually. My dad specifically has told me that that's what Christianity is there is no gray.
Right.
You live in the black and white. It's good or it's bad. It's heavenly or it's evil. The end. And so they on purpose shun the gray. And it's lazy. If you don't have to think about things on a case-by-case basis,
right,
you can be the teacher that knows who the loud one is in the class, but doesn't give a shit, doesn't want to deal with it. And so you make the whole class write sentences.
Yeah, absolutism is not a way of managing the world.
It's lazy and it's dickish.
It is.
It's both.
And I'm sorry to go off on a rant about that, but it's just, it's one of those things that I know that people would call out.
Sure.
So I wanted to address it.
Yeah, well, and it's the whole, well, I suppose you'd feel differently if something happened to you. Well, guess what, bitches? Something did happen to me, and somehow I can still find, kindness in my heart.
Right.
Like things that happen to me, I don't then turn around and say, therefore, all who belong to this group should be, stoned to death.
Well, and I would say you used to live in a lot more of a black and white world.
I did.
You didn't really acknowledge the gray,
It's easier, it's lazier, it's simpler.
Right. And I'm not criticizing you for that,
no,
just for
not
the
at
record.
all.
I'm just saying
Obviously.
that
it's how I was brought up.
Sure. And it is easier, but it just doesn't take in everything that exists. That doesn't account for everything. So
I will even go so far as to say that psychology doesn't want you to be that way as a person. Like, right now, one of the things that I am struggling with on a very personal individual basis is having recently been diagnosed with OCD. Part of my OCD is seeing everything as black and white. And so some of the therapy that I am going through is being exposed to that messy middle, that gray area, sitting in the discomfort and finding ways to be okay with not being in control, not having the answer, not knowing the end result,
right.
not putting everything in its perfect place of right or wrong. Sometimes things just are.
Yeah.
And it's harder when things are messy and less definitive.
It is, but it's more real.
It is more real, and that's why I'm trying to do that work.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm also recognizing that it's not easy to live in the gray, but that's life.
Why there's so much romanticism around things like religion or
Absolutism.
Propaganda that gives you absolute answers, right? That's why these things are so sexy and why they make the fucking rounds as far as society is concerned with regard to what is correct and what is not.
It's either right or it's wrong. You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution.
Right. Like one of the biggest things I can point out right away is like gun control in the US, right?
Yes.
That's one where there's a lot of people on both sides that think it's one way or the other. And it's never going to be one way or the other.
Right.
That's just not how this is going to pan out.
Particularly in America.
Yeah. No, I mean, it'll be hundreds and hundreds of years before America will accept anything less than gun ownership.
Yeah.
But so the conversation is what type of gun ownership, right?
Right.
And that's where no one wants to discuss the gray area.
Right.
So it just gets thrown into, well, the left wants us to get rid of all our guns and the right's like, and the left's like, no, but they don't have a good answer.
Right.
Well, I mean, they do, but no one, the other side's told that they're just wanting to take away their guns, right?
And so that's the only argument we're allowed to have.
That's the only argument we're allowed to have. But like I start every conversation with somebody that is, pro Second Amendment with, well, should you be allowed to have nuclear weapons? And when they say yes, I'm like, okay, this conversation's over.
Right, because that's silly. That's just silly. And then, but if they say no, then you're like, okay, so then we can talk.
We got some room here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we can figure out where that line actually is then. So you're not for like 100% everybody can have all the weapons.
Yeah.
Yay.
I have had some people say that they should be allowed to have nukes. Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
You're a fucking
that's so
weirdo
fucking
and
ridiculous
silly.
that I don't even know where to start with you. You're doing this on purpose.
Right.
Because
you don't want there to be a line. You don't want to admit that there is one.
Right.
So you're on purpose saying, yeah, I should get nukes. Everybody should have nukes. And then we would all behave. It's mutually assured destruction. And it's like, okay, wacko.
Yeah.
What if we just all pretend we have nukes without actually? Could we just get rid of the nukes and then just pretend we all have them?
No, yeah, and that's I think yes.
Oh,
right?
That reminds me of that Star Trek episode actually, where instead of actually having weaponry and nukes and stuff, they did mathematical programs at each other that would like estimate how many died, and then that many people had to actually like just step into an incinerator rather than destroying everything.
Right.
They just let like mathematical logarithms and whatever determine how many people died.
Yeah.
And then that amount of people would be randomly chosen to, okay, it's your number's up, you're dead.
Right.
Which is like so close and also so far away. But it was like the mutually assured destruction. They wanted their societies to last longer than what nukes and stuff would allow.
Sure.
And so it's like, oh, they were so close. Almost had it, you know?
Yeah.
Get rid of guns, but still had the death.
Right. But even that like became such an unquestionable thing in their society, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they couldn't even question that because it was just the way things were. And it solved a problem at one point in their society's arc, right?
Yeah.
But it presented a whole other like normalization of weirdness.
Right. And I think it was the original series, right? And it's like, it was either the original series or it was honestly. Next Generation, but I honestly don't remember. But whenever the people went to this place, the whole reason that the problem came up is because one of our crew members
up on that list.
Came up on, your number has been drawn. Sorry, you have to go die now.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, what? I don't play this game. I'm not from here. Fuck you and your pretend nukes.
Right.
Real or pretend, either way, people are dying.
Yeah.
But yay for buildings.
Right.
Right. Which kind of gets into something else that we could, like an entirely different bag of worms, where like the federal government is out there protecting buildings and architecture and stuff because, those crazy Black Lives Matter and Antifa folks are knocking over buildings.
Right.
Like, okay, I see. Buildings matter more than people.
Anyway. Gray area.
Gray.
It's a thing.
It is a thing, and we should learn about it.
Right.
Yeah. So the other reason that we should kill strangers is mentioned in Numbers. So still early on.
Sure.
The stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to fucking death. So, you're
nice.
still always wrong.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that was our contradictions.
Okay. All right.
And now we're getting into our little pop quiz.
All right.
Over Zecky. And I missed one.
Wow.
Yeah.
You did good.
I did.
Okay. All right.
So, okay,
I've got a tough... this is tough.
Row to hoe.
Yeah.
Birch. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, number 1. What is the main purpose of Zechariah's visions? And I'll read you your choices.
Okay.
To protect Israel's conquest by Babylon, to warn against idol worship in foreign lands, to encourage and motivate the returned exiles to rebuild the temple, or to assign military duties to each tribe.
Okay.
I'm going to read it again for those playing at home.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Number 1, what is the main purpose of Zechariah's visions? To predict Israel's conquest by Babylon, to warn against idol worship in foreign lands, to encourage and motivate the returned exiles to rebuild the temple, or to assign military duties to each tribe.
I'm torn here between two choices.
Which ones?
The idols and the rebuilding of the temple. So I am going to go with, because I know he was there around the time of the temple, I'm going to go with rebuilding the temple.
That, I believe, that's correct.
Okay.
And that's the one I like read it too quickly, and so I picked the idols.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the one I missed because I wasn't paying it good enough attention.
Got it. Yeah. When there was a lot of talk about idols in this
there
book,
was a lot.
That's why I was a little torn between the two choices.
Yeah, exactly. Like I saw it and I was like, oh, obviously that's the one.
Right, right.
So, okay, you already are.
I'm doing good.
Yeah,
I'm doing good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, number 2. Which figure is described as the branch in Zechariah's visions, symbolizing a coming leader? Was it Zerubbabel? Was it the king of Persia? Was it the high priest? Or was it a messianic figure who will rebuild the temple?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to read it again for those playing at home.
All right.
Which figure is described as the branch in Zechariah's visions, symbolizing a coming leader?
Yeah.
Okay, was it Zerubbabel, the king of Persia, the high priest, or a messianic figure who will rebuild the temple?
Now, you see, I think you gave away the answer in the question because you emphasized it, but the messianic future leader person.
Figure who will rebuild.
Yeah, that
D,
one.
D,
Right.
that is correct.
That's the
yeah,
one.
Yeah. Okay, so you're doing good. I mean, I don't think I emphasized it more than necessary.
The coming leader.
Well,
I was just reiterating
okay.
what I heard.
All right, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make it too easy for you. I'll try to be better. I'll try to read more like a
Not that I
fucking
don't
AI.
appreciate a gimme, but
I'll try to read more like an AI.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Number 3. In Zechariah's third vision, what do the surveyor and the measuring line represent? Is it a future census of Judah, the physical rebuilding and divine protection of Jerusalem, God's judgment over foreign nations, or Zechariah's call to become a builder? Now reread those.
Okay. Yeah.
Number 3, in Zechariah's third vision, what do the surveyor and measuring line represent?
Okay.
A future census of Judah, the physical rebuilding and divine protection of Jerusalem, God's judgment over foreign nations, or Zechariah's call to become a builder?
I believe it's the future building and divine protection of Jerusalem.
It is. Very good.
Because they're not rebuilding the wall,
Right.
but they were measuring because there's going to be so many people.
That they won't need
They're not going to... We covered this in one of the Q&As. They're not allowed to have a wall because of Persia, first of all.
Yeah.
But they needed to feel important, so God's protecting them, and they don't need a fucking wall.
They're like, we don't need no stinking wall.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, number 4. In Zechariah chapter 3, what is the significant... I'm sorry, let me restart that.
Yeah.
In chapter 3, what is significant about the version... Okay, one more time. One more time. I cannot.
Okay. All right.
In chapter 3, what is significant about the vision of Joshua the high priest?
Okay.
He is shown to be corrupt and is removed from office. He is given royal authority to rule Judah. He is cleansed of guilt, representing Israel's spiritual restoration. Or he leads the army to victory against Assyria.
Okay,
I'm going to read it again.
All right.
Number 4, in Zechariah chapter 3, what is significant about the vision of Joshua the high priest? A, he is shown to be corrupt and is removed from office. B, he is given royal authority to rule Judah. C, he is cleansed of guilt, representing Israel's spiritual restoration. Or D, he leads the army to victory against Assyria.
He is cleansed of guilt.
Yes.
Because
C.
he got those new clothes.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah. All right. That was very good. Let us see. Okay. Number 5. You're doing so good. Why are you laughing?
Because I'm doing good, you know?
Because I was like, good job. Okay. Number 5. What do the golden lampstand and 2 olive trees in Zechariah chapter 4 represent?
Craziness?
Is it A, God's promise to keep Israel prosperous? B, the unending oil supply in the temple? C, Zerubbabel and Joshua as God's anointed leaders empowered by his spirit? Or D, the power of Babylon and Persia over Jerusalem? Okay, let me read that again.
Okay.
Number 5, what do the golden lampstand and 2 olive trees in Zechariah chapter 4 represent? A, God's promise to keep Israel prosperous. B, the unending oil supply in the temple. C, Zerubbabel and Joshua as God's anointed leaders empowered by his spirit. Or D, the power of Babylon and Persia over Jerusalem?
I believe the answer is C, Zerubbabel and Joshua being shown the way by God or whatever.
As God's anointed leaders empowered by his spirit.
Right.
Yes, letter C, that is correct.
Okay, all right.
Yep, you're doing so good.
I know.
Okay, number 6. What recurring theme is emphasized through Zechariah's oracles and visions? A, the importance of dietary laws. B, fear of foreign gods. C, hope, restoration, and divine presence in Jerusalem. Or D, avoidance of Egyptian alliances.
Right.
Okay, let me read that again.
Okay.
Number 6, what recurring theme is emphasized through Zechariah's oracles and visions? A, the importance of dietary laws. B, fear of foreign gods. C, hope, restoration, and divine presence in Jerusalem. Or D, avoidance of Egyptian alliances.
I'm going to go with C, hope and restoration.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm actually, like, most of these questions I've actually felt pretty confident about.
Yeah.
There's some that I've teetered between two answers, but I feel pretty good about my answers. So.
Yeah, well, even the ones where you teetered between the answers, you had a good reason for doing so.
Sure.
Yeah. Number 7, according to Zechariah, what role does fasting play in religious life? A, it is mandatory during the rebuilding period. B, it is condemned outright. C, it becomes hollow without justice, mercy, and compassion. D, it is to be replaced by military training. Right, I'm going to reread that for the people playing at home.
Okay.
Number 7, according to Zechariah, what role does fasting play in religious life? A, it is mandatory during the rebuilding period. B, it is condemned outright. C, it becomes hollow without justice, mercy, and compassion. D, it is to be replaced by military training.
I believe the answer is C, becomes hollow.
That is correct. But I really like the idea that it is going to get replaced by military training.
That's why I laughed. I was like, what?
Oh, you so silly. All right, number 8. You have 100% so far. You might beat me on this one.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Stop
looking.
I'm not looking. I was just leaning over.
I know. I'm not
looking at it.
I know. I'm just making sure you're not looking.
I'm not.
Okay.
I don't want to know.
I know you don't. Okay, so I moved the paper just so and I'm covering the answers. I don't want anybody to think that you're a cheater. You're not a cheater.
We're on an audio podcast. We could totally be cheating.
But they also know that I would never let you because
most of our listeners know that, yeah.
I want you to be wrong.
But if this is their first time listening, they'd be like, she's just showing him the answers. But I promise she absolutely is not.
I will assure you that I would love nothing more than to fucking beat him. And usually I do, so it's kind of annoying that he's getting all these right.
I still got a couple chances to get one wrong.
I know. And we'll see. You probably won't, but let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, number 8. In Zechariah's later chapters, numbers 9 through 14, which figure is portrayed as both a shepherd and as someone rejected? A, Zerubbabel. B, the king of Tyre. C, a symbolic messianic figure. Or D, the governor of Jerusalem. I feel like this one was too easy.
Yeah.
But
that's all right. That's all right. Go ahead and say it again for our listeners.
I will. Number 8. In Zechariah's later chapters, number 9 through 14, which figure is portrayed as both a shepherd and as someone rejected? A, Zerubbabel. B, the king of Tyre. C, a symbolic messianic figure. Or D, the governor of Jerusalem.
It's going to be the messianic figure.
It sure as fuck is.
Yeah.
The answer is C.
I feel like all the answers have been C.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a thing that happened with I'm not sure how you did the quiz, but like So far, I feel like I've said C way too many times.
I feel like you're right.
Yeah.
And I will make sure that doesn't happen again. Because that is so not cool. All right.
Hopefully this one won't be C.
Hopefully this one won't be C.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the overall tone of Zechariah's message regarding Jerusalem's future? Is it A, messianic hope and divine blessing? B, apocalyptic destruction? C, eternal subjugation? Or D, permanent exile?
Okay. I feel like it's not going to be C this time. But that's just my thoughts here. I'm not going to give away what I think it is, but I don't think it's C.
Okay.
All right.
Number 9. What is the overall tone of Zechariah's message regarding Jerusalem's future? Is it A, messianic hope and divine blessing? B, apocalyptic destruction? C, eternal subjugation? Or D, permanent exile?
I'm going to go with A.
You
messianic hope.
are right.
But I want to caveat that with, if you are an enemy of the Israelites, it's more like the apocalyptic destruction. But since we are talking about the Bible, the answer is A.
I also want to put out there that I rearranged the answers because guess what?
It was C.
So I on purpose read them in a different order.
I see.
So that, yeah.
So we'll have to work on that one.
Yeah. That's my
I could
bad.
have just answered C the whole time. I've been correct.
I know.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. I
didn't realize that till we were over halfway through.
Yeah,
I was like, I've been saying C an awful lot.
I didn't pay attention to that.
But I do want to say one thing.
Yeah?
I'm always right.
We got one more. We got one more.
Oh, damn it.
That was number 9.
I thought we did 10.
That was number 9.
Damn it. Okay. I better get this one right.
I know. You spoke too soon. All right. Number 10. Ready?
I'm ready.
What moral lesson is repeatedly emphasized in Zechariah's prophecies? A, animal sacrifice should increase. B, people must remain in the wilderness. C, alliances with foreign powers are always right. D, true worship is tied to justice, righteousness, and covenantal faithfulness. I'll read it again.
Okay.
Number 10. What moral lesson is repeatedly emphasized in Zechariah's prophecies? A, animal sacrifice should increase. B, people must remain in the wilderness. C, alliances with foreign powers are always right. Or D, true worship is tied to justice, righteousness, and covenantal faithfulness.
Okay, it's going to be D.
It is.
But my question is, did you switch them up?
I did. Because guess what it was?
It was C.
It was C. Yeah.
All right, but it was D.
Yeah.
And I got them all right.
And you got them all right.
I am always correct. I am always right.
In this episode,
I am always not wrong.
You were not wrong
on those.
On this one.
Yeah, right.
In this episode.
I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the very few hundreds I've gotten on one of our quizzes.
And one of the very few times that you beat me.
Yeah.
Not only did you get 100, but you beat me.
I know.
Not only did you beat me, but you got 100.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy about that.
And you know what else happened?
What happened?
We finished Zechariah.
We did. That was the end of Zechariah, and we are completely done. Yeah. Completely done.
No more specials.
And there's only one more book left in the traditional Old Testament.
Yeah. It's Malachi.
Malachi.
And I cannot spell it right. Like, I keep wanting to spell Malachi with an A-I at the end, but it's only I. It's Malachi.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's just Malachi.
Okay. All right.
Malarkey.
I do want to mention that before we get into Malachi, we are going to be doing our special episode, which will be happening tonight. Tonight.
Yep. Because Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on Discord.
Correct. And I do want to stipulate also that we are no longer exclusively making these for Patreon, but so they'll be open to the public, but they're not going to go on our regular feed. So if you want to catch this, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can either join us on Discord live at 10 p.m. Eastern and catch it live, or it will be open to the public on
our Patreon platform.
Yeah. So all you have to do that you can join as a free member on Patreon, and you can catch them there. But from here forward, because we really want you to support us because you enjoy our show.
Yeah. Because
you want to help promote what we're doing, not because we don't want to gatekeep. We want these available to everybody. So we may occasionally put one if we feel it's socially important on our main feed. But if it's not something that we deem that is necessary to put out in the public zeitgeist, it will be only on Patreon.
Yeah, usually the ones that we'll put on our regular feed will be something that's either time sensitive or something that is current events happening
politics
in the news,
whatever,
politics,
right.
American bullshittery.
Yes, yeah, that will be will go in both places. But if you don't know where to find it, our Patreon page is going to be in the show notes here, and it is patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse. Head over. You can sign up as a free member. We won't judge. We don't care. We want to see everybody that we know and love and all of our fans there. Yes. That's all.
We just want our friends.
Yeah. Come be part of the community. Yeah. Come be part of the community.
Yeah.
And that is it, I think.
Goodbye, Zeki.
Goodbye. Hey, wife. I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep. We have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.